Now is the time in our service where we enter into meditation together. So I invite you now to just gently close your eyes or find a spot to soften your gaze. And just root your feet firmly to Mother Earth. So allowing her healing powers to enter into your body and to just begin to permeate every cell, bringing healing and nature and just life. Just softening your hands in your lap and just relaxing your shoulders and your neck and your head. And just letting your breath come and go naturally. No force, just allowing it to be as it wants to be. Earlier this morning, we sang a song called Weave. And in that song, we spoke of unity and love, of weaving us together in unity and love. So let's ask ourselves in this moment what that truly means. What does it mean to truly weave ourselves together in unity and love? So as we sit here this morning, I ask you to, with your inner eyes, visualize the person sitting next to you on your right. Or just allow yourself to feel their presence. Feeling that cord that connects the two of you together. That cord of oneness, that cord of love. Now visualizing or feeling the presence of the person on your left. Those cords that weave you together, that connect you together in unity and love. Feeling those connections growing stronger and stronger. Those cords and those connections now expanding to each person in this room, weaving each and every one of us together. Expanding beyond this room, out into the city of Madison and beyond. Weaving you together with each and every person, each and every being on this planet. And as we prepare to enter into our moment of silence together, I invite you to just allow yourself to feel these connections and to just feel them growing stronger moment by moment as we sit together in our moment of silence. as you bring your awareness back to this room, I invite you to continue to allow that connectedness, that interconnectedness, those cords to each and every being to just grow stronger. They don't sever just because we leave this meditation or this place. Those connections are a part of who we are because we are all one. Always allowing your awareness to go back to that fact that we are one. There is no separation as long as we just continue to weave. Let's just breathe in this moment of awareness. And so it is. Namaste. Thank you, Delane and Pete. That was amazing. Pete, she makes you look good. I'm just kidding. Pete and I have gotten to know each other really well over the course of time. I mean, we were in a shut-down church together over a year, so yeah. We agreed that what happened here stays here, so. So welcome, everybody. For those of you who I haven't met in person or those of you that are attending online, I'm Reverend Evin Wilkins, so glad to have everybody here. I can't stop staring. I kept finding myself turning around and looking because there's people here and a lot of people here and some faces I haven't seen in a while. So, yeah, welcome back, everybody. I was kind of laughing earlier when Josie mentioned foyer or foyer and looks at me for confirmation. I mean, I'm from Texas. How do you think I'm going to pronounce it? Foyer, anyway. So anyway, I know I'm a bit late in this. I was not here last Sunday, and it was the first Sunday of June, but I wanted to say Happy Pride Month. So most of you likely know what Pride is in this instance when we say Happy Pride Month or when June rolls around every year. But if you don't, and I did borrow this definition from Wikipedia, it says LGBTQ plus pride is the promotion of the self-affirmation, dignity, equality, and increased visibility of lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and there's others now added to that. There's non-binary and other things added to that, but people as a social group. Pride, as opposed to shame and social stigma, is the predominant outlook that bolsters most LGBT rights movements. So in case you're visiting for the first time in person or online, Pride is something that we do indeed celebrate at Unity. In fact, if you go to Unity's webbook, I'm giving it a whole new name. If you go to Unity's website or their Facebook page, they're flying a pride flag at Unity Village right now. So I was really happy to see that. And I think this is great. In fact, I wouldn't be at Unity. I wouldn't be a part of the Unity movement if all people were not accepted here. Amen. Let's give ourselves a hand for that. Yeah. And I think Pride is great as well. You know, all of the celebration, all of the festivities, you know, the parades, people finding the courage to come out during this time, you know, people courageously standing firm in who it is that they truly are. You know, the worthiness, we celebrate the worthiness of a specific group of people in June. You know, the only thing that makes me feel a little bit of sadness around this is that we seem to celebrate this big celebration once a year, and then it's just kind of gone. When in reality, shouldn't we celebrate this worthiness year-round? Now, I think we know the answer to that question, right? We should. I mean, that's a fact, but the truth of the matter is that not everyone does. which is precisely as to why we need to bring awareness such as pride or BLM, Black Lives Matters, or anything similar. It's because the worthiness of all isn't celebrated and appreciated all year round by everyone. Now, I'm sure we've all heard rebuttals to Pride or Pride Month. I know I have. I've heard things like, well, no one should get special treatment. Or why do LGBTQ plus people get a pride? I don't get one. Well, if you don't get one, you're fortunate that you don't need one. And we've also likely heard the all too infamous rebuttal to Black Lives Matter. The one, no, all lives matter. Well, of course they do. And of course nobody should get special treatment than anyone else, but at the end of the day, we shouldn't need to bring awareness around specific groups of people. But the truth of the matter is that we do. We do because all lives don't matter to others. All lives aren't seen as worthy to each and every person. And LGBTQ plus people aren't always treated in a prideful, celebratory manner. And until all lives truly do matter, until all people are treated as the worthiness that we all are, we must continue to shed awareness where and when that awareness is needed. And for those who don't like it, well, I'm not sorry to say that you better jump on the train. Or I guarantee that train is going to leave you behind and eventually you're going to be the only one standing there. Now I remember, and I'm sure many people do, a very special day in 2015. And it was a day that marriage was finally granted to everyone. There were smiles and tears of joy that day. My personal friends, Bonnie and Vicki, who actually introduced me to Unity, but they were finally posted a picture of themselves holding up their official marriage certificate after 25 years of sharing a life together. Then in 2016, transgender people were officially allowed to serve within their actual gender in the United States military. There were restrictions, but it was still a step forward, and those steps continue to gain traction. But then there was an unprovoked announcement from a so-called leader who decided to make the decision on his own that he needed to discriminate against a group of people, and he yanked that right away again. Thank goodness that ban was removed again in January of this year with absolutely no restrictions. Another reason for pride, right? But I'm thinking that he probably should have read a story about a man named Albert Cashier. And if anybody in here hasn't heard his name, I highly recommend you Google Albert's name. He was a Union Army soldier who fought in the Civil War. A Union Army soldier who was born as Jenny Irene Hodgers. His story is fascinating. But I digress. I won't go into all the names because I could be up here for quite a while today. But marriage equality, bans on serving this country, those are all still really the tip of the iceberg, right? There's still some work that needs to be done. But these are reasons as to why we continue to bring awareness so that one day, when we hear somebody come back with a rebuttal of all lives matter, it will actually be a true statement. So what I want to talk about today is how it can be pride all year round. How we can not only bring in awareness, but live in that awareness of what it means to truly hold the worth in every single being. To find the hidden wholeness, so to speak. Now, the first thing is to be really clear and to be really honest with the truth that often lies hidden beneath the fear. We generally fear what we don't know, don't we? Those things that we may not understand. And as a result, we often try to find ways to justify the legitimacy of that fear. And far too often, the Bible and other religious tools are used to perpetuate that fear. And I want to talk about the Bible for a minute because the Bible contains what the LGBTQ plus community often refers to as the clobber passages. Those verses that are contained in the Bible that seem to somehow demonize the LGBTQ plus community. Now, these Bible verses, unfortunately, have been used for a few decades now by those who fear what they do not know and don't understand. It's almost as if they're saying, well, I don't understand what that means. I don't understand what it's like to be you. So this means you've got to somehow be wrong. Or you are somehow less than I am. So out comes those clobber verses. They pick up the Bible and go straight to those clobber verses. A way to justify that fear, a way to put themselves on a pedestal, to take it upon themselves to deem another person as less than. Yet seeming to skip over the verses that give a different picture altogether. 1 Samuel 16:7 says, "But the Lord said to Samuel, 'Do not consider his appearance or his height, for I have rejected him.' The Lord does not look at the things people look at. People look at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart." In Romans 10:12, "For there is no difference between Jew and Gentile. The same Lord is Lord of all and richly blesses all who call on him." And, it says him, her, whatever your term for God is. There is no pronoun for God. But those are just starters, of course. There are many, many more verses found within that celebrate the wholeness of who we are. And of course, homosexuality or anything of the sort, or nothing of the sort, was ever even mentioned in the more original scriptures. As it stands, a specific word was incorrectly translated to homosexual. And that became homosexual was placed into the Bible in 1946. And I'm not even going to try to pronounce the word because it was way out there for this Texan. But I can give it to you if you're curious as to what it is. But that word, the original word, didn't mean anything of the kind. But the fear surrounding something that some can't or perhaps don't even want to understand. That result has so often been heard by the LGBT plus Q community. You aren't whole. You aren't worthy. You aren't welcome here. And you can see how that fear, how the truth that lies beneath that fear can result in the harm that it brings to other people. So maybe instead of fear, we can ask ourselves something different. What is it that I fear by allowing people to express and to be true to their authentic selves? Better yet, one question might even be, and how in the world is it hurting me by just allowing people to love who they love or to be who they are? And it extends beyond just those in the LGBTQ plus community. What is it that we fear by allowing people to just simply live their best lives in the way that they see fit and is true to themselves? What if we were to somehow just kind of tilt our upturned noses sometimes, back down to the ground a bit, and be grateful even for the opportunity that we've been given? One example I remember was, I grew up in a little Baptist, well, it wasn't so little, but it was a pretty big sized Baptist church in a smaller West Texas city. And I remember the first time a black family walked into that white Texas church. I will never forget it. They sat not far from where I was, and I'll never forget the little whispers I heard, the little murmurs. People just couldn't believe it. It had happened. The all-white congregation had suddenly been challenged because those people bravely entered the church that day. And then something else happened. They stayed. And then still something else happened. Others followed. And it one day became the norm to no longer be an all-white congregation. The gauntlet had been thrown, and the challenge had been presented. And in that challenge lay a golden opportunity. Here was the moment to actually truly practice the teachings of Jesus, what we went to church for every single Sunday in that Baptist church. And these opportunities happen all around us each and every day, don't they? The question is, are we willing to actually take advantage of these opportunities when they happen? Who is willing to practice love when things don't go the way they had planned? Maybe for their kids. When the 15-year-old boy approaches his traditional conservative Baptist father to tell him that he's gay. Or the child who has enough trust in his mother to let her know that he's not her daughter after all, but her son. These are the moments, the exact moments that provide us with the most amazing of opportunities. To not only practice love, but to also learn from one another. Especially from people who may experience life a little bit differently than you do. Allowing yourself and another person the richness of life. And to try to maybe even truly participate in this world and really be a part of it and all that it offers. To really allow all of our journeys to intersect with that of another. And perhaps to even help hold each other up just a little bit along the way. So in his book, A Hidden Wholeness, author Parker J. Palmer says, "And therefore I look upon everything as a brotherhood and a sisterhood. And I look upon time as no more than an idea. And I consider eternity as another possibility. And I think of each life as a flower, as common as a field daisy and as singular. And each name a comfortable music in the mouth, tending as all music does toward silence. And each body a lion of courage and something precious to the earth. When it's over, I want to say, all my life, I was a bride married to amazement. I was the bridegroom taking the world into my arms. When it's over, I don't want to wonder. If I have made of my life something particular and real, I don't want to find myself sighing and frightened or full of argument. I don't want to end up simply having visited this world." So June is Pride Month and we celebrate. We see pride flags and pride colors everywhere in the month of June. We see LGBTQ plus people. We walk up to them. We hug them. We tell them how happy we are to have them in our lives. And if you don't, you should. And while this is great, and we all still have a long way to go before a statement such as all lives matter really is true right now, all lives aren't currently treated in such a way. And we have to be a part of the solution, not only in word, but in action. People can't be allies by saying, "I love you, but." It doesn't work that way because that's not allyship. And we know that people deserve more than just once a month. So let's strive for that. Let's make the agreement to strive for that. While Pride Month is great, let's strive for the day that one isn't needed. But for now, happy Pride Month.